in this question, we're asked to differentiate x minus the square root of x plus 6 with respect to x. So when I have anything with a square root and I want to differentiate, say if I have the square root of x, I write that as x to the power of a half. And if I want to differentiate that, I can do it that way. So I'm going to write x minus x plus 6 to the power of a half. So I'm going to differentiate my x first, which will just be 1. I'm going to minus everything in here. So it's going to be a half. This is a chain rule. A half by whatever in the bracket multiplied by the derivative of what's in the bracket. So it's just going to be 1 because x derives to 1. And then it's going to be x plus 6. And I had to reduce my power by minus 1. So it's going to be minus a half of my power that's on here. And then if I just wanted to go, so it's going to be 1 minus a half x plus 6 to the power of minus a half. So if I just want to make that 1 minus a half, and that's going to be multiplied by x plus 6 to the power of a half, or 1 minus 1 over 2 root x plus 6. And that is it derived with respect to x. And then the next part, we're asked to, I'm just going to go onto another page. We're asked to find the coordinates of the turning point of the function. So this is just part C, coordinates of the turning point of the function. So I know at my turning points, dy dx is equal to 0. So I'm going to get the dy dx, which I just got. I derived it already, so it's 1 minus 1 over 2x plus 6. That's what I just got. And I'm going to have to let that equal 0. So I'm going to let that equal 0 because I'm letting my derivative equal 0 because that's my derivative. And then it's going to be minus 1 over 2x plus 6 is equal to, so that's going to be a minus when it moves over to the other side. And then it's going to be minus 1 over 2x plus 6. Sorry, so they both be pluses. And then I want to get rid of my fraction on the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply both sides by this. So I'm going to multiply my top by 2 root x plus 6, and I'm going to multiply this by 2 root x plus 6. So then I'll be left with, they'll cancel here, and I'll be left with 1 is equal to 2 root x plus 6. And then if I want to, then I want to get my x plus 6 by itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide this side by 2. So it'll be 1 over 2 is equal to root x plus 6. X plus 6. And if I want to get, the square root is equal to a positive number, so it's going to be a positive square root. So if I wanted to get the square root of both sides, I could just square both sides. Square. So if I want to get rid of my square root, I can square both sides, and then a half. So a quarter, it'll be a quarter is equal to x plus 6. So then I move my 6 over to this side. So x is equal to a quarter take 6, which will be x is equal to 5 3/4. But it asks to find the coordinates of the turning point of my function. So at my turning point, my x value is 5 3/4, and to get my y value, I'm going to have to sub that back into my original equation. So my original equation was x minus x square root of x plus 6. I'm going to sub in 5 3/4, so 5 3/4 plus 6, and see what I get. So 5 3/4, so 5 3/4, take the square root of 5 3/4 plus 6, and I get an answer of 5 3/4 minus the square root of 5 3/4 plus 6. Just might plug that in again. So if I want to, sorry, my answer is, my answer was minus 5 3/4. Sorry about that. So I got minus 5 3/4 was my answer. So I just, after leaving out my minus sign, so just be wary of that. So then plug in minus 5 3/4. Sorry about that. So it should be minus 5 3/4. So if I just do that again, and 3/4 minus 5 minus the square root of, so just remember your signs, everyone, minus 5 3/4 plus 6, and I get an answer of minus, so if I just want to do it out, so I'll get minus 5 3/4 minus this square root here, so that's going to be 6 take 5 3/4, which is just going to be a quarter, and the square root of a quarter will just be the square root of this and the square root of this, so it'll just be, if I want to get the square root of 1 is just 1, so 5 minus 3/4 minus, so it's just going to be minus a half, and then 5 minus 3/4 take a half, so they're both minuses, so it's going to be minus 6. So if I'm adding on 2/4 to this, it's going to be 6 minus 6 1/4, and that is our answer. Thank you.